Warriors, I am so honored today to present to you Kristen Jenson, founder of Defend Young Minds. The website is defendyoungminds.com. Kristen has been a frequent guest on our radio program, WVOX here in New York. And today she's joining us as our first guest on the Warriors YouTube channel because we need to share her most important expertise and voice about what is going on with our kids and pornography. Not only is Kristen the founder of Defend Young Minds, she's a best-selling author of, I'm going to try to hold them up. Let's see. Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. We're going to get into that and how you can get your copies. A must-have in every household in 2022. Kristen Jenson is also the executive producer of Digital Brain Trust, the curriculum. We're going to talk all about that, which every household needs to know about, and our school systems. And we're just going to host a whole variety of different topics. But Warriors, get ready, because Kristen Jenson is the foremost authority, and it is such an honor to share you with our audience today. Kristen, the first question I want to ask you, though, is how did it start? Because that's what everybody always says to me. How did I get started with this? They're going to want to know how you got started with the business of pornography.
Yeah, I never saw that coming, Lynn. And it's so great to be here on your YouTube channel. I got a call one night from a mother who had a very tragic story, and that was that her 17-year-old son, her oldest son, had been caught molesting his younger brothers and sisters, and it was a large family. He was molesting the 14-year-old all the way down to the 4-year-old, and this mother explained what was happening, and I woke up the next morning and just felt compelled to find a resource for her younger children, because pornography was involved, and it led to, a lot of this molestation. So I looked and looked and I couldn't find anything. There were stranger danger books, there were body safety books, other kinds of books like that, but I couldn't find one that taught young children in an age appropriate way what pornography is, why it's harmful, and what to do when they see it. And so I started writing Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. And really, it's all about teaching a child about the brain science of how looking at pornography can grow, especially when you have curiosity, and can grow into an addiction. And this is true. And we need our kids to know, because so many kids are becoming addicted to this. Most kids in the United States are not going to be able to get a hold of a lot of alcohol or drugs or whatever, even tobacco. We've got laws in place for that. They can't just go to the corner store, but they can go to any device like this and get into porn very easily, or even through gaming devices and anything that's connected to the internet can be used as a portal to porn. So that's how I got started with Good Pictures.
You had a calling, as I like to say. You had a calling, and to be at the forefront of this, Kristen, and we thank you for that, because I also think you touched upon so many things, and I'm all over the place with this, because first we have to educate the parents. The parents don't understand, or the grandparents, trusted family members, what exactly is going on. And I always say, handing a device, a phone, or the child has a laptop, it's opening your front door and allowing strangers to come right in. And you said, we learn about alcohol and cigarettes and addictions. It's the genie out of the bottle with the internet, and nobody's addressing. I mean, a lot of people are addressing, but we need solutions. And that is why Defend Young Minds, Warriors, defendyoungminds.com, has everything you need to know, one-stop shopping, as I like to say. I don't understand. And we have to get the parents. This is something I come up against, Kristen, all the time. They're not comfortable with this subject. And they say to me, well, if I bring it up, and I say, no, you don't understand, because I read every study that comes out. I find them from all over the world. They go to school. They all have the phone. They're showing each other pornography on the phones. This is right now an American crisis.
On the school buses.
But that's what I'm saying. Anywhere they have a phone. So the kids, no matter what you do, the kids are seeing it somewhere. So let's start with the parents. What would you tell a parent today? Say they find a nude image? How would you go about it? Or even how would you go about bringing this subject up? I mean, I think your books are the starting point kind of thing, but the kids are, think it's creepy. The parents don't like it. Yet the kids are looking at all of this. So we got to start somewhere. What would be the first step you would say to somebody?
Well, I would recommend that you start young. And the reason you want to start like with a 3-year-old, because they're going to be on the internet. It seems like every 3-year-old has access to an iPad or a tablet or something. So it's important that you start young. Hashtag sooner is safer. Because again, when a child is caught off guard by pornography, their, curiosity just can pull them in.
Right. Kids are curious,
And
right?
they're not bad kids at all. They're good kids. But if they're not taught what to do and why they should do it, then we're just leaving them vulnerable. So start early. The book that you showed is my junior book, and I wrote that after many parents came to me asking me to write one for 3-year-olds. And I remember when the first parent came up to me and said, "Do you have one for preschoolers?" And I'm like, what? Because when I first wrote Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, people were saying 7-year-olds. And I'm like, yes, 7-year-olds need to know this.
Yes.
But actually, any child on the internet that has any access to video games or any kind of access to the internet, even if you feel like your home is locked down with filters and all that kind of thing, once they go somewhere else, even to their grandparents' house or to a friend's house, they're going to be in a situation where they need to know what to do. So the books give a definition, a simple age-appropriate definition. They give a warning and they give a plan.
I think the plan is the most out of everything. I'm telling you, during this past Christmas, I bought so many of the books, Kristen, because I thought that's the greatest gift I can give, right? To friends, to family members. And you brought up another important point. I always talk about community. We have to get everybody in the household involved, grandparents, aunts and uncles, a full family circle in order to start making a dent with this, raising awareness. Because the other thing, and I've encountered this all week, I did 2 different speeches this past week. People say to me, that's happening in other countries. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is your child has a phone. It's happening right there. I guarantee you they've seen something already. If, 7 at any age, whoever has a phone. Now, okay, so now your books are available on your website, defendyoungminds.com, and also wherever books are sold. We want everybody. Again, warriors, greatest gift you can give, books, number one, and this subject matter. Explain, Kristen, the porn today is very graphic. This is not just, 2 people even having just sex, 2 adults. The graphic, violent nature of it, which affects, these little brains. Once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. Well, there are ways to minimize it, and I do talk about that in the books. Ways that kids can, once they've seen it, can kind of neutralize those memories, and there are specific ways to do that. But it's not Playboy. Playboy, it seems quaint now, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So it's very violent. There's a lot of hitting, slapping, strangling, and other things that are really horrible. And the problem is then you're associating sex with violence. I think we want to stop sexual violence and, not glorify it. And unfortunately, that is what is happening in pornography today. There's also, and the thing is this, you're not just looking at still photos, right? You're looking at video that is, sounds, and you're seeing things, and that has a much greater impact on the brain. So today's porn is much, much, much worse and much more harmful to a child's brain. Because if you want your child to grow up thinking that sex is about violence, it's about domination, it's about objectification. It's about hurting people. Well, maybe porn is what you want your kid to learn from. But if you don't, if you want them to learn that sex can be a beautiful thing, a part of a relationship, and loving and kind and trusting and respectful, you need to keep them away from porn, and you need to explain the difference to your child so they'll have reasons to reject it. They'll be able to say, that's not what sex really is. I don't want that kind of sex, and I don't want watching this to train my brain to want that kind of sex.
This brings me to what is in our news yesterday, where there is a 10-year-old girl was killed by a 14-year-old boy. And I think, Kristen, where my mind went to right away. What do you want to share about this story?
Well, I was shocked when I saw it, and I thought, I wonder if in the trial they're going to bring up the fact that this boy was looking at porn, because I'd pretty much bet my house that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because where else is he going to get these ideas? There are very violent genres of porn, even, people, that fantasize about killing and then having sex. And that's what happened in this situation. He killed this girl and then sexually assaulted her. And how was his brain trained to do that? I mean, that you don't just wake up one day and say, I want to go kill somebody and then have sex with them, with the body. I mean, that is so, despicable. But there are these kinds of porn out there. And so again, it's so important we warn our kids early, because look what has happened now to these
children.
I don't know to these children and their families. And
the story's breaking, so we don't have all the details yet. But when I heard, Kristen, the most frightening thing, and he told the police this, I wanted to break her. We know that is a term used. Traffickers, pimps use that, to wear somebody down, to sexually abuse them. And my thought was, where does this little boy, I don't care, he's 14 still, where does he hear something? Where does he learn something? I bet you online. That was just me thinking that. Now, again, it's developing. We don't know. But we know this escalation and proliferation. And we also have to blame, I want to get your thoughts on, the media, the entertainment landscape now. The sexualization of our children has become the norm. So this is not blaming parents. This is not blaming kids. This is what it is today, which is why, everybody, you need to listen to Kristen Jenson, and you need to go to defendyoungminds.com, and you need to be a warrior and learn for yourself realities, solutions. What do you think about that whole landscape with what's going on in the media and what's billed as entertainment and what the kids are seeing?
Yeah. It's interesting because, we have this Me Too movement. We have so many.
Where? I'm still looking for the Me Too movement, the true Me Too movement. I want to see a true Me Too movement.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that you have women in positions of power, getting great education and having all the opportunities that anyone could want, pretty much, and going up into space and everything. And yet we've allowed pornography, which is the biggest platform for misogyny, to still be around. And even women saying, oh yeah, I like it. It's fine. It's great. And we need to, as women, say, no, we are not on board with pornography because it is so misogynist. And I don't know, I can't explain it other than there is an objectification that takes place, and then you're a commodity, right? And commodities you can sell for money. So if you can commodify, people's bodies, then you can sell them in sex trafficking, online. So it comes down to, what is making people money? All the money.
That's the bottom line. You always follow the money trail. And we do know, I work with law enforcement here in New York. And they tell me, and also Border Patrol, it is a bigger crime than drug trafficking. All of this sex trafficking, sextortion, sexual exploitation, much easier than drugs. And how, as a society, can
Yes.
we allow? I live, Kristen, close to Times Square. I'm always like, why are people out in Times Square? I've actually gone to Times Square protesting myself, I'm proud to say. And I don't care if one person just looks at me with a sign, that's fine with me. Why aren't more women? Because I was at the tail end, I was a kid. It was like 1970, 71 in Jersey. And I remember all the women, the women's movement, watching the nightly news when we had 3 channels, seeing everybody marching in Washington, seeing them march in New York City. Every kind of woman came together. It was like, it's a bipartisan thing. It doesn't matter what color you are. And I feel like all these years later, I truly feel, as an older woman now, it has slipped. We have not
Yeah.
made the progress the way we're
Yeah.
treating our girls and women. And
Yeah.
I am in shock and horrified. And that's what energizes me actually to do what I'm doing now, to make a difference or to help one person at a time. I don't understand. You brought up, there are a lot of women that have platforms for empowerment, right? This would be, to me, CSAM, child sexual abuse material, this pornography that is just infiltrating. I use the word infiltrating because it is polluting our children's minds and
Yeah.
disrupting them, right?
Absolutely. It's robbing them. It's robbing their and hijacking their sexual template. So your sexual template is all the expectations and that you have for sex, your beliefs, your values around that. And pornography, if it's the first and only voice around about sex, then your child is going to get a sexual education that is violent, that is vulgar, that is disrespectful, and we're seeing so many signs of this.
Yes.
And the sex trafficking that is going on. I just talked with a sex trafficking expert yesterday in Kansas, and he was saying that when he would go to schools and talk about pornography, used to, with the middle school kids, it used to be kind of like they would get embarrassed, they kind of laugh. He goes, now they don't even blink. It's so normalized.
They're habituated to this. They're habituated. That is what I'm so worried about.
We can get in there if we can start young. We can habituate them to see pornography, to reject pornography, to keep it out of their brains, and to know why that they want to keep this out of their lives. Because right now, if we're not being articulate about all the reasons how pornography can be harmful, then we're not going to have a fighting chance. We need to educate our children from a young age, teach them what pornography is, why it's harmful, not only addiction, but it can lead you to believe, harmful things about sex and things that will not lead you to have a happy sex life when you're older. So there's so many studies about how people who watch porn are at much higher risk for infidelity, for divorce. It just goes on and on.
And I know on your website, you have a blog, you have so much free information, warriors. Please defendyoungminds.com to look at all of this. Kristen is giving you a gift, everybody. She's done all the work for you. You have no excuse. defendyoungminds.com. Kristen, give us an overview of, you have, brain defense, digital safety, a curriculum. What is going on right now? Because I'm never understanding. I'm always fighting here in New York. We need mandatory education in our schools. Let's talk about this. Fill us in what you know about all of this and your curriculum.
Yeah, there's a term called duty of care. And that means if children are going to be online at school using digital devices, then they need to be taught how to stay safe on those devices. So it's a duty of care. And I believe that we do owe children digital safety training. And that's why I created Brain Defense Digital Safety, because it really is teaching a child digital defense skills for their brain and for their minds. So yeah, go to braindefense.org or go to defendyoungminds.com and you'll see the courses there. The thing about that may be different
Mhm.
and special about our program and our course is that we really, not only the content is research based, but the methodology. So
Mhm.
we really dug into prevention science, and there's decades of prevention science out there. So what is it? What kind of training is really going to help kids reduce their risk of all kinds of risky behaviors? And so we took that and we used it to design our curriculum. So it's video based, but there's also a workbook, and there are questions that they can have, that they can discuss with their parents, and role plays. So it's very easy. It's like open and go. We've done all the hard work for you, and
Right.
you can get it for yourself as a family, or you can get it for your classroom or your school or your church group or your community group, your Girl Scouts, your Boy Scouts, um, and and give these kids a chance to understand how they can keep themselves safe and thrive, because there are so many great things out in the world and that they can find through the internet. We just need to teach them what to avoid and why to avoid it.
And I'm going to throw in again the parents. We have to teach the parents first, because I have a lot of them, Kristen. They say to me, well, I didn't grow up with the internet. I said, well, I didn't grow up with it either, but I am learning. We have to, again, this is just opening up your front door, letting the strangers in, and you would never allow that. Or you'd never, I say sometimes, go into a mall, hold up your phone and say, come over to my house, or here's my child. You would never do
Right.
that. You use the seat belts and the safety helmets, right? We've got to get on top of this porn addiction. I was sitting here thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could create, if we could create for Defend Young Minds, like teen ambassadors? Because that's what I'm working on with the Warriors. Now, I know it's porn,
Yeah.
but remember, we want to get the kids, they relate peer to peer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why we have the Brain Gang in Brain Defense.
Right.
It's kids that are teaching this.
That's what we need, I think, to even force more and more and get them to think it's almost, I don't like to use this word with porn and all this sexual stuff, but like almost like cool, like to inoculate the kids. It's cool to get on board with this. This is no good. These pictures are no good. And the other thing I've been thinking about lately, Kristen, is, and I want your thoughts on, we really, and I never thought like this before, we have to leverage the internet for good. It's here to stay, right? It's not going away. So we have to learn to live with it properly. But I think we also have to get back to family time or creativity, or like even arts and crafts. I mean, just those little simple things, which I think we've swung so far away from. I know COVID has played a big part of everything in the last couple of years with the great unknown and everybody being disrupted and isolated, and kids. What are your thoughts on families and things like that?
Well, a family has the greatest influence on, a growing child, for good or for ill. And it's so important that families begin young to train their children, again, to thrive on the internet, but to be protected and to be safe on the internet. In Brain Defense, we talk about how it's so important to balance your time between the digital world and the in real life world. And there's a lot of studies that show that you form much better, you're much happier and you have better mental health if you have good relationships with real people, right? That you are with, not just digital. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, I have a lot of friends on the internet that I've never met in
Kristen.
Friends. You and me, right? But they're not going to bring me chicken soup when I'm sick, right? They're not going to. I mean, there's just a difference. We have to have a balance with this, and we teach that in Brain Defense Digital Safety, and a lot of things about how you create good habits in your brain, good tech habits. So the family is where that can begin. And again, we do have a family version of Brain Defense. If you'd like to do that with your family, it's very affordable. And then, keeping those conversations going.
Yes, communication.
So you never want to just a one and done. You want to keep those conversations going. And that is, you might have a Talk Tech Tuesday. You might have a time on Sunday, whatever, when you are going to just talk about some of these things. Now, one mom told me that she uses our articles that come out as kind of a tickler, that is a trigger to help her to have these conversations with her children. And even if it feels a little uncomfortable, the more you work at it, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to feel.
Right.
And frankly, your kids need your mentoring. Even if it doesn't feel comfortable at the beginning, they will benefit. And there are studies that show that when parents begin young and start talking with their kids about pornography and the problems with it, that carries through into their life, and they have fewer problems with pornography than kids that grow up and it's never mentioned. So let's give our kids a fighting chance, and we just can't do enough for them. We really, given what they're up against, we need to do as much as possible.
No,
so
we have to be warriors, Kristen. We have to really be warriors. And, I use all of your information all the time and I promote you, but then I decided, even though it's still, the internet, I need to bring you on. Like, I need to have interaction instead of me just repeating your material and referring. Let people see you and your beautiful face. Let them hear how you, formed Defend Young Minds. And let them just know, instead of just I'm sitting here alone in front of the camera, just talking about it. I think it's a wonderful thing that we can actually do this. And this is, leveraging the internet for good, right? That we can come together. I'm here in New York City. You're far away, right? So we're coming together. Tell us about what do you see the future? Where do you see it heading with all of this? We're entering metaverses. We're entering the frightening, Web 3.0. So we know everything will be increasing, escalating. What do you think about all of this?
Well, it can be overwhelming. So I don't want anyone to be overwhelmed. Every year we publish, what we see coming down the pike in January. This is what we see coming in 2022. And it's one of our most popular articles on Defend Young Minds, and you can check that out. You mentioned the metaverse. We're definitely going to be writing more about that. So I think that we don't want to get overwhelmed. We really just want to, we want to talk to them about pornography, talk to them about some of the other dangers online, but everything we can do to just create that family, create those connections of love. Everything has to be really founded on love. So I would say, start there, start improving your relationships with your children. But then go to Defend Young Minds and download the free guide. It's called How to Talk to Kids About Porn.
That's what I want you to get at.
Just go and download that, and it'll give you, so it'll educate you, and it's pretty quick. And then if you find that your son or daughter has looked at pornography, or your grandchild, there's another guide that is called, My Kid Saw Porn, Now What? And it's a SMART plan guide. It's also, so SMART stands for 5, it's an acronym. And then there's also all kinds of articles in that. It's really an ebook that you can read, and you will be so prepared to deal positively when you find out your child has seen porn, and you will know the questions to ask. You'll know to stay calm. You'll know exactly how to respond so that the whole thing works in your favor and works in your child's favor, and not against it. So I would say definitely look at those guides, get those guides, and let all the work that we've done for you really get you going and get you started. It will pay huge dividends in your child's future. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, I wish my parents had had your book. Of course, it wasn't available then. But
we had nothing because you started it. Sadness. No, but how great, Kristen. You found this hole. right? Where
Yeah.
something was lacking and you filled it. Do you know how wonderful that is? That is a true warrior. And we need to expand this space, and we need to normalize talking about it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we can't. I have a lot of mothers have said to me, I got hysterical. I saw a nude image on my son or daughter's phone, and I'm always saying, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't even pretend to play one, but I'll just be like, that's the worst thing you can do is start screaming, so that's
Yeah.
why Defend Young Minds, everybody, defendyoungminds.com. If you know about this, should you see it, you have your action plan in place. You won't, because I don't blame people for screaming if you see something like, your natural reaction. But if you have, I can't stress enough, an action plan in place and read. And
Yeah.
and the other thing I get, Kristen, all the time is people don't understand this is happening to like everybody. They think it's, maybe just them. Absolutely not. This is
But
becoming,
nobody wants to talk about it.
no,
Yeah.
everybody, again, they're embarrassed. They don't want to talk about it. They'd rather, put it away. And we agree. It's dark, ugly, overwhelming. It's here. So what are we going to do? We're going to be warriors. We're going to confront it. So I want everybody, please, Defend Young Minds is on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You heard Kristen today, defendyoungminds.com. She has done all of this work with her team to provide you with education. We're going to inoculate the kids against all of this, which we know they're seeing warriors. This is not, maybe you'll see. We actually know, right, by the age of like 9 or 10, they've actually probably have seen something, right, Kristen?
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Right. So, on the school buses, in the playground. So we have to really get a handle on this. And Kristen Jenson, founder of Defend Young Minds, I am just so honored that you were my first guest on the Warriors YouTube channel. I want everybody to please, please, please support defendyoungminds.com and the work of Kristen Jenson and her team. And also the best thing you can do, get these books, right, Kristen? This is the best thing. You lay out, the good pictures, bad pictures. It's done for you. And everybody, I can't stress enough. The website again is defendyoungminds.com. Kristen, final words, thoughts. What would you like to leave us with?
Yeah, I'll just leave you with one of my favorite stories. And that is a mom read Good Pictures, Bad Pictures to her 9-year-old son. A few days later on the playground, one of his friends came up and showed him pornography on his phone. He recognized it. He knew what it was. He turned away. He went home after school, told his mom, and she was able to help process that with him. So it works.
Yes.
It works. And if you don't approach this with your children and your grandchildren, and if they're caught off guard, then there is usually a very different outcome because they just don't know what to do. So let's teach them what to do, just like we do with every other danger out there. And you can do it. Just take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Don't be overwhelmed. You can do it. And I've seen so many parents step up and prepare their children to thrive in the digital age that they are born into, not the world we were born into, not the world even my children were born into, but the world that they are growing up today. And we can do it. And our children will benefit.
And it's 2022. And we are so thankful for you, Kristen Jenson, founder of Defend Young Minds, defendyoungminds.com warriors. I hope you'll come back soon, Kristen, because I'm going to be all over you because you're my expert, my go-to about all of these subjects, and keep us updated about anything new that comes on board for Defend Young Minds, anything we need to know. We are here for you. So thank you, Kristen Jenson, so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lynn.